Guys, Marsingin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to do the EZA team building guide for this man right here, the INT SSJ3 BARDOCK. His EZA should be releasing on JP sometime within the next 10 to 11 hours if you're watching this video as soon as it goes up. And yeah, we're going to go through, as always, with my team building guides, the top picks and honourable mentions for building a solid team to get you through the event. It is a standard 30-stage EZA, so 30 stages, you obviously get 30 stones, there'll be a couple from missions, you get all the medals you need to awaken him, as well as a bunch of Kais, so you're all set to get him to SA15. So there is no official wiki page for it just yet, but the specialised category for this EZA is storied figures, which shouldn't really come as much of a surprise. They do this a lot lately, where the big EZA that comes out in the first part of a new celebration usually revolves around the leader skill of the new unit, and obviously Bardock is a storied figures lead. So now with 30 stage EZAs, as always, we get to a certain point, I believe it's stage 20, where certain typings of units start to do less damage. They in fact get 80% damage reduction, which is a pretty significant amount. So you can still bring good defensive units of that typing, but obviously just be aware that they're not going to be doing anywhere near the kind of damage that you're used to seeing them do. Even if they're on, like, say you're running Bardock as the lead, units that are on like his 200% leader skill, they're obviously not going to be hitting all of that hard. So for this event, it is Tech and AGL. So we want to steer away from Tech and AGL units where we can. As I say, there are a couple of defensive options worth mentioning. And we are going to start going through them. So as I said, with my team building guides, I always go through my top picks and honourable mentions, and as I always say, if there are any units that you think I missed out or that I should have talked about more, let me know down below in the comment section. And of course, if you do find the guide helpful, do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So jumping straight in, obviously we have the new Bardock himself. So he leads Goku family or storied figures, and then obviously gives the 30% extra to pure Saiyans. So 200% leader skill for a lot of the storied figures units, which is going to be the main way to go if you pulled this guy, right? Because storied figures and pure Saiyans basically covers the entire free-to-play Bardock team. So obviously very solid free-to-play options for this EZA. So Bardock is very good in these shorter kinds of events like an EZA. The fact that his Scouter is only going to be up for 5 turns is obviously not really a huge detriment, because most EZAs, you know, you're never going to go past 5 turns anyway, unless you are running a particularly weak version of the team. So he's going to be pretty good. Obviously, changes orbs. He can get guaranteed crits if he picks up 3 rainbow orbs. Like, all in all, even though he is tech, he's going to be pretty good. Now, obviously, he's going to get that damage reduction in the later stages. So even with guaranteed crits and stuff, he's not going to be doing crazy damage. But his defense can be good. He's probably going to be in the last 10 stages or so best used as like a 3rd slot floating unit, basically just there to give you that Scouter effect and for the leader skill, essentially. So obviously we also have the Tora, that is his side banning unit. Maybe you did a couple of summons and you only got the Tora and not the Bardock. He's the storied figures leader for 3 key and 130 to stats. Always helps to just have the leader that is straight up for the category, so you can just mix and match the team as much as you want, rather than trying to fit it in under the like a different category leader skill of another unit, and then you're juggling trying to have like all the units on that category and the specialized category for the EZA. Obviously, if you pulled this guy and Bardock, or even if you didn't pull the Bardock, like this guy on the team is going to be really, really good. Damage reduction per team Bardock ally in the same turn. So obviously, if you have a full team Bardock rotation, including them, 30% damage reduction, which is pretty good. They obviously give support, 30% to storied figures allies, and then 30% in addition if you have Bardock in the same turn. So very easy to condition to fulfill for this EZA. So they're giving a lot of support. So definitely a very useful unit to have. Type neutral, so I mean they'll still be able to do decent damage. Their defense plus the damage reduction is very good as well. And then, of course, the other leader is the LR Tapion on Minosha, up until the release of the Bardock banner. Technically the only storied figures leader that was available. They have 3 key and 150%. So obviously if you are missing the Bardock, but you have this guy, he does have a better leader skill than the Tora, so might as well go ahead and throw him on the team. They can do some pretty good damage. They also provide siblings, bond and storied figures allies some support. There's a little bit of crossover with Siblings Bond, not a huge amount, but obviously these guys, and then another unit we'll of course get to, can work very well as a rotation together. So these guys, if you have to use them as a last resort for a leader, they're not exactly a terrible unit. Bit outdated for the current meta in terms of things like Red Zone and stuff like that, but obviously for something like this, they are obviously going to be perfectly fine. So, let's start going over some of the units. So, obviously, Tapion right here. Now, he's AGL, so as I already discussed, he's not going to do a lot of damage, but he is a very good defensive unit, and he is the perfect combo to use with the LR, Tapion, and Minosha, where you put this guy in slot 1, the LR in slot 2, it enables them to get all their links, they're giving him support, like that rotation works very well, and will be very, very good in this event, even though, as I say, in the last 10 stages or so, this AGL Tapion is obviously not going to do very much damage, but he's just kind of there to defend in slot 1 and then let the LR go off in slot 2. I probably wouldn't recommend running him if you're not running the LR, but obviously if you're short on options, he can be a good defensive unit. So next up we have the physical LR Bardock. He's going to be one of the better units on this event because simply for the fact that, you know, he's an LR, he's got an easy A, so he's a solid unit anyway, but he's in the specialized category and he has type advantage. So obviously he's going to be able to just go absolutely ham, big damage. I've been using him a bit recently, you know, after trying out the new Farsha and stuff like that on a 200% lead with the physical Raditz. And this guy on rotation with like another Farsha or Team Bardock unit and a little bit of support is still putting out like 10+ million attack stats. So he's going to be very, very good in this event and able to deal lots of damage. I imagine in the early turns, he potentially can one-shot like the early stages, so definitely like a top pick for the team, even though he does share the same name as the leader Bardock, so I guess technically you actually can't run both of these because you can't run same name units in an easy A, so you are actually only going to be able to use this guy if you're not using the tech Bardock as the leader, which is kind of a shame because he is very, very good. But obviously tech Bardock good as well. Because of the tech typing of the other Bardock, though, this guy by far is going to be outperforming him in terms of damage. But it just depends who you've got as a leader, right? Obviously, the tech Bardock, much better to bring just for the leader skill alone. And then obviously I brought the tab up there briefly, but we have the Super Saiyan Bardock. So his Easy A goes live, I believe, at the exact same time as this one. And it is a sub Easy A. So I did tweet out a screenshot, even though I'm on global and this is months away, I've already pre-farmed all of the medals from the Saiyan Easy A event. So you can actually farm those. Like if you're watching this video now, I'm actually not sure because sometimes on JP, sometimes they take down on either version. They take down the event just before it's about to get a revamp. But the Saiyan one should still be available either just generally or with keys. So if you're watching this video right now when it comes out and you don't have much else to do in the game and you haven't done this yet, I would definitely farm up the medals for this guy. Obviously, you can farm up the medals for the Tech 1 and the STR Super Saiyan 2 as well. But this guy out of the three is going to be the most useful because he has very solid defense. He can hit reasonably hard. He supports the entire rotation. And of course, he's on the category and he has type advantage. So this guy, absolutely crazy. He will be an MVP on the team as well. And of course, you don't have to worry about the same name issue with the base form Bardock. So this guy on the team is going to be exceptionally good. So he's like a must run. I would definitely recommend easying him before you jump into this event, and he's going to make it much, much easier. And then, of course, we have the physical Farsha that I mentioned briefly already. Because we're fighting an int enemy, you don't need to worry about her turn restriction for her guard, because she's going to be guarding all the time. Which, I mean, to be fair, you don't really need to worry about it anyway, because it's 5 turns. You're probably never going to go longer than that anyway. So she's going to build up each time she gets hit. She can do pretty good damage. She links up well with the Bardock. She's just going to be another very, very good unit. So if you have the tech Bardock, like her and then the physical Super Saiyan Bardock, just the 3 of them together are just going to be able to put out so much damage. It's a shame you can't use the physical LR as well. They work really well as a rotation, but Farsha obviously links up just as well with the tech Bardock as well. So she's definitely a top pick for the team if you've managed to pull copies of her. So next up we have the int version. Now obviously, as we've already covered, you can't run the same name units in an EZA, but if you don't have the physical fascia, the free-to-play int one is still pretty good. She does greatly raise defense on super. She has a built-in chance to dodge. A good bit of kit for her is you put her in slot 1. If she gets a dodge, she gives Team Bardock allies attack and defense 30%, as well as 3 key to all allies. Once you get a dodge. So if you put her in slot 1, as long as she dodges at least one of the attacks, she's then giving the Team Bardock allies 30% attack and defense, which is again another huge buff for units like the Bardocks. Obviously the Super Saiyan Bardocks aren't on Team Bardock, but that extra buff is going to be pretty significant. Now the physical one definitely is way better despite not being a support unit, but obviously if you don't have the physical one, then this is a good free to play option to put on the team instead. So then, of course, we have Physical Shugesh. So as another one of the free-to-play options, obviously, as we've already covered with some of these units, he's on the category, he's got type advantage, he infinitely stacks defense, which is pretty good. He can't get access to a lot of the parts of his passive because status effects are useless after the first few stages in an EZA, but he's just going to be another overall solid pick due to the type advantage, and of course, he is a free-to-play option as well. So definitely a solid pick for the team. Then we have the STR Bardock. Now, he seems like the least likely one to get used because out of the 3 base form Bardocks, considering we can't run same name units, he's probably the worst, even though he is really good. But for this event specifically, obviously the physical LR is just going to be going crazy. But this guy is good, right? He's good defensively, he has damage reduction with Team Bardock allies. He's a nuking style unit, so he's just a very solid unit overall. You're just probably not going to have a lot of space for him unless you are having to run basically like the full free-to-play team. Because obviously you can run with his leader skill, you could run the full low-class warrior team with him as the lead, run a friend tech Bardock for the harder stages. But yeah, he's the least likely base Bardock that you're actually going to use. So next up we have Super Saiyan 2 Bardock. So he's in the same boat as the physical Super Saiyan 1, where you'd obviously need to EZA him first because he's pretty outdated without his EZA, unfortunately. But he builds up defense with each super attack. He has a medium chance to launch an additional and then a high chance to launch an additional super if there's a Super Saiyan 2 or 3 ally in the same turn. So depending on how you choose to build the team, you can obviously make it so that this is the case. Now, when it comes to storied figures, there's not a lot of Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3 characters. Super Saiyan 3 Bardock obviously is on there. I don't usually bring the unit that's getting an EZA into the EZA, but I mean, I guess you could, right, if you wanted to get this extra bit of utility from this last part of his passive. But even without that, he's still fine, right? He's getting an additional, he's on the team to provide support, he gives 30% attack, so it's not like you need to have him fully optimized for this. Because obviously EZA is not the hardest events in the world. So definitely good to have another differently named unit for an EZA, providing some support, holding his own, definitely a solid pick. So next up we have the LR Bojack. So we're kind of gone off the Saiyans a little bit here. If you are just running the straight up storied figures lead, maybe you're running like LR Tapion and Minosha. Obviously INT Bojack, whilst he's aged a little bit, still pretty good, still able to put out very solid numbers. And of course you have the combo of running him with the STR Bojack. They link up very well. The STR Bojack before transforming provides support to the INT one. So these two together as a rotation can actually be very, very powerful. Even if you are running Bardock as the lead, right, they still get his 170 leader skill. So that is a very powerful option for a rotation that can be very effective if you don't have some of the newer units. I don't know if I would say, like, if you have them Rainbow level 10 links, I would assume this rotation is probably still more powerful than, like, a couple of the free-to-play Team Bardock units, even though they are very good. So they are another option you can fit in. So then, of course, I wanted to talk about this guy. Now, he's getting an EZA in November. He's kind of mid at the moment. But the only reason why I included him is because he is physical, he is on the category, and because he's a heroes unit. And the only reason why that is relevant is because a good storied figures unit, who also is getting an EZA in November but could actually be good now, is the Dark Mask King. Because he gets extra defense after he takes the first hit, but he has guard if there's a hero's ally in the same turn. Now, obviously, in this event, because it's type neutral, that guard is going to be pretty helpful. And he heals based on the damage that he does, which in an EZA where you can't use items to heal is definitely very useful. But I would say you probably do want that guard, which means you'd have to be running another hero's ally, and the only one on storied figures is this guy. So this is basically the only reason why I am showing him off here. Although I don't think they link up very well. I think they literally have Shattering the Limit, and that's it. So not the best. I mean, you could get away with running this guy without the other guy, but of course no guard, so he could get, you know, caught by a super, but he could still be very useful for the team. He has decent Saiyan links, so he fits in with the Team Bardock units fairly well, so he's a solid option. Then we have Physical Kid Buu. I thought we'd mention this guy because, you know, he is the showcase king, right? The meme, 50% attack and defense. I mean, why not, right? He's on storied figures, just throw him on the team, have him as a third slot floating unit. He's got type advantage, so it's not like he's going to get absolutely destroyed, and then he's just going to juice up all of your units and make them do a ton of extra damage. So definitely worth thinking about bringing him. Even if you are running like basically a full Team Bardock setup, you could just throw this guy in as the last unit and blitz through those earlier stages thanks to his support. And then last but not least, I wanted to give a shout out to our boy Pycon. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, because he's an AGL unit, he's not actually going to be doing very much damage as we get towards the end, but he has the Ghost Usher ability. He obviously has the ability to dodge as long as you pick up a Rainbow Orb, so he can be very, very good, right? Just Ghost Usher away the first turn that he's on, and in the early phases, I mean, that's just going to give you a free win for those early ones, right? So he's definitely worth considering, but of course, as you get into the harder stages, like I say, he's not going to do a lot of damage. He's type neutral. He is on the category at least, right? So if you're getting his orbs, even if he doesn't dodge, he's not going to take crazy damage unless potentially from a super. So other than that, he is going to be looking pretty good on the team, even if you're only using him for the active skill. So those were the top picks and honorable mentions off the top of my head. If we have a quick look down the category here, like I said, I didn't mention any tech units really outside of a couple of choice ones. Team Bardock, still the meme. Can't believe we got a new Bardock celebration and they didn't give us the last copy in the EZA for these guys. I think that's absolutely wild. Meki Cabra would be good if it wasn't for the fact that he's damage nerfed. I mean, his defense would still be good, but other than that, I wouldn't recommend bringing him. Same with any of these other AGL units like Bardock. Borgo's is free-to-play option, but again, not going to do a lot of damage. I guess free-to-play Tora, he provides the support, and he's not really going to do any damage, but I mean, that's not really why you use him on the team, so I guess he could be a decent option. I didn't figure into the equation any of the Grey Ape-like units for Team Bardock, because they all kind of suck. I guess Super Pycon from Heroes could be pretty decent if you have him. Obviously a bit more limited unit because he is from the Heroes banner, but he could be pretty good. Links up decently well with Pycon as well if you are running the AGL one. So there's a couple of other options, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So like I said, if I missed out any units or you think I should have talked more about what a specific unit does that makes them so good for this event, let me know down below. And of course, let us know what team you are going to be using to do this EZA in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.